Hello, in this lesson, we're going to be configuring Kube Proxy. So we're going to be setting up our systemd service for Kube Proxy, and once we're done with that, we'll go ahead and get all three of our services started up, and then we'll do some verifications to make sure that everything is running the way that we expect it to so far. So I'm going to be running these commands on both of my worker nodes, and I'm going to start off by moving some files into place. And if I do an ls, you can see that I've got my kubeproxy.kubeconfig file in my home directory, and that's one of those files we created early on in this course. And I'm going to need to move that file, so I'm going to do a sudo mv on that kube-proxy.kubeconfig, and I'm going to move it into var/lib/kubeproxy, and I'm also going to change the name of the file to just kubeconfig. So now I've moved my kube config into place, and I'm ready to create my kube proxy YAML configuration file. So I'm just creating this file, var/lib/kubeproxy/kube-proxy-config.yaml. And it's just a simple YAML configuration file. I'm pointing to the location of my kube config in this file. I'm giving it a proxy mode of IP tables, specifying the cluster CIDR. It's okay if you don't understand what all those configuration options do. We're just creating a simple YAML configuration file that contains some basic configuration for our kube proxy service. So I'm going to create that file, and now I'm ready to go ahead and create the systemd unit file. So I'm creating etc/systemd/system/kubeproxy.service. And it's just a normal systemd unit file. Only one flag is being passed into kube proxy here, and it's a flag that points to that YAML configuration file that we created in the last step. So I'm going to go ahead and create my systemd unit file, and kube proxy is now set up and ready to go. So now that we have set up all three of our services, containerd, kubelet, and kube proxy, we're ready to go ahead and get them started up. So I'm going to do a sudo systemctl daemon-reload, and that's going to reload our systemd unit file configurations. Anytime we create new unit files or edit existing unit files, we need to run this daemon reload in order to pick up those changes. Then I'm going to do a sudo systemctl enable, and I'm going to enable all three of my services, containerd, kubelet, and kube proxy. And enabling those services is just going to make sure that they start up automatically when the server starts up. Now I'm ready to go ahead and start my services. So I'm going to do a sudo systemctl start on all three, containerd, kubelet, and kube proxy. So now I've started up my services, and I need to do some steps to verify that everything is working the way that I expect it to. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure that none of my services crashed. I want to make sure that they're all up and running as expected. So I'm going to do a sudo systemctl status, and I can check the status on all three in one command. So I'll just do status containerd, kubelet, and kube proxy, and that will list out the statuses for all three services. And I need to check the status on both worker nodes. So I'm going to look at this, and I can see my containerd service is active running, and on my other server, it's also active running. So containerd looks okay. And of course, down here at the bottom, I've got my kubelet service, and it's active running on both servers, so it looks okay. And of course, I've also got my kube proxy. It's active running on both servers, so it also looks okay. So I'm just going to hit Q to exit out of that. So far, everything looks like it's running appropriately. But there's one more thing that I need to check on. I need to make sure that both of my workers were able to successfully register themselves with the cluster. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to log into one of my control nodes. So here I am logged into my Kubernetes controller. And it doesn't matter which one, I just picked the first one. So I logged into my first controller, but this will also work on the second controller. And I'm just going to run a kubectl get nodes. And what I'm looking for is I want to see both of my worker nodes in this list. And of course, there's my wboid3 worker node, and there's my wboid4 worker node. Now, both nodes are listed as not ready, and that right now is to be expected. That's because we have not fully set up all of our networking yet. So both of our nodes are going to be in the not ready state. But what we're looking for is we're looking to make sure that they both appear in this list. If either one of them or both were missing, then that would be an indication that our nodes were not able to successfully register themselves. But because I see both of my nodes in this list, right now, it looks like everything is up and running and everything is working the way that I expect it to so far. So now we have finished setting up our systemd services for both of our worker nodes, and we've got our services up and running, and our worker nodes have successfully registered themselves with the cluster.